Minecraft is a game that can be easy at times, but also repetitive at times. Luckily, there's these challenges known as advancements inside the game. Some of them are dead simple, but some of them will leave you wanting to throw your computer out your window. But recently, I started to wonder, how many advancements can you get with only your fist? Today, I'll show you the answer. In my last video on this world, I killed the warden with only my fist. I didn't do much of importance, but this is my 4th video on this world, so some things are left unexplained, for now at least. There are 4 main advancements that I have to try and get. Their names are Adventuring Time, Monsters Hunted, A Balanced Diet, and 2x2. For Adventuring Time, I have to visit every single biome in the game at least once. For Monsters Hunted, I have to kill every single hostile mob in the game at least once, such as a Ravager, a Zoglin, and an Elder Guardian. For A Balanced Diet, I have to eat every single food in the game at least once, including poisonous stuff such as a poisonous potato, a spider eye, or rotten flesh. And for 2x2, I have to breed every single mob in the game, which includes camels, bees, and even hoglins. So don't be confused if you see me going out of my way to visit a biome, kill a mob, eat food, or breed a mob. And also, when I say no tools, I mean the generic 4 tools: pickaxe, axe, shovel, and hoe. Things like shears and brushes are allowed. Now that that's out of the way, let's start with every advancement that is possible, with no tools, weapons, armor, or shields. The advancement Sniper Duel is obtained when you kill a skeleton with your bow from at least 50 blocks away. That's impossible for a weaponless run, right? Well, apparently not. The requirements are actually much more simple. You need to have hit the skeleton once, and it must die to an arrow while you are 50 blocks away. If I can kill the skeleton from 50 blocks away, I can get it. After trying to get it for a while, I found a way, but for some reason it doesn't work on the latest version. Fortunately, I hadn't updated my game yet, so I made sure this was the first one I did. I waited until night and trapped a skeleton inside a boat. I put a dispenser full of arrows facing the skeleton, and made a 50 block line of redstone. I hit the skeleton, ran to the end of the redstone, and spammed the lever. My first advancement was done. Yes! I updated my game and I really needed a lot of sand, so I went to a desert, blew up sand and collected it. I'll tell you why in a bit. On the way home, I found a goat, got on a boat with it, and got another advancement. I also collected some snow because I would need it later. You see, to get anywhere in this challenge, I needed a lot of obsidian. In a fist-only world, you only have one reliable source of obsidian: piglins. You can give gold to piglins, and they will give you items in return. Obsidian is one of the items they give you, but it's rare. I barely had any gold left, so I decided that I needed a gold farm. I found a really good farm, but there was one problem. The farm needed 4,000 magma blocks. Luckily, there's an easy way to get magma blocks: crafting. You can craft 1 magma block from 4 magma cream, which drops from a magma cube. To get that ridiculously high amount of magma blocks, I needed a magma farm. By the way, I'm linking every tutorial I use in this video, and also putting their names on the screen when their farm or machine shows up. I highly recommend all the tutorials I have used in this video. I found a good magma cube farm and began to get materials for it. I smelted my sand into glass and went to a cave to get some blocks. You see, I have a gunpowder farm and a lot of sand, so I was able to make a lot of TNT. In the cave, I blew up stone until I had a full inventory of cobblestone. I then crafted 80 buckets and flew to a nearby mountain to collect powdered snow, which can freeze the magma cubes to death. To take a break from getting materials, I decided to walk towards another advancement. I crafted a brush, made water breathing potions, and went around looking for warm ocean ruins. They spawn with a block called Suspicious Sand, which has an item inside it. I was looking for two things, pottery shards and a sniffer egg. After half an hour, I found a sniffer egg and got a new advancement. I also crafted 4 of my pottery shards into a pot and got another new advancement. I then put the egg down so it could begin to hatch. After waiting for a while, my sniffer finally hatched out of its egg. I'll need it later on in this video. I finally had all my materials, so I went to the nether roof and began building. The farm needed iron golems to lower the magma cubes into the hole, so when I summoned the iron golem, I got another new advancement. Once the farm was finished, I left to AFK to get magma. After 10 hours, I had all of the magma and needed to get the other materials for the gold farm. However, there was one flaw with the farm. The farm needs you to use your best sword and just hit the pigmen. It was easy to adapt it to my fist only wall though. I added my only wither rose and 2 buckets of powdered snow to the hole they fall into, and now it's automatic. The gold farm needed 2 massive rings of magma. It took an hour or 2, but I had finally finished the farm and oh my god, it's amazing. There was just one problem though. The chests were completely filled up with useless golden swords. To solve this, I had to build a sorting system. When I had finished building it, the hoppers only let gold ingots or nuggets into the chests, and everything else is funneled into a hopper that throws it straight into lava. I wanted to get another arrow related advancement with only my fist, and there's no better arrow advancement than bullseye. In order to get bullseye, you have to hit the center of the target block with an arrow from at least 30 blocks away. Completely impossible, right? Well, as I recently discovered, it's definitely not impossible. This is gonna get a bit complicated, so I hope I get the message across. The actual requirement for the advancement is that a projectile thrown by you hits the center of the target block, while you're at least 30 blocks away from it, horizontally. Standing above it won't work sadly. In Minecraft, a thrown projectile retains its own attack, so if, for example, you threw an egg at a chicken, the game knows it was you who threw the egg and hit the chicken. It's also the case for this advancement. If a snowball with your own attack attached to it hits the center of the target while you yourself are 30 blocks away, you get it. But every projectile that isn't an arrow disappears once it hits something, so surely it won't work. Well, there is one thing that lets it work. Bubble columns. There's a thing called an ender pearl stasis chamber, where you throw an ender pearl into a bubble column, and it's suspended floating at the top of the bubble column until something hits it. If you take this concept and swap out the ender pearl with a snowball, you get a floating snowball. Now you can put a target block 2 blocks above the bubble column, with a piston above it, make a 30 block line of redstone, and activate the redstone. The piston will push the target block down into the floating snowballs, and one of them will hit the center. That is how I got bullseye. Anyway, back to the other advancements. There are 3 advancements which involve you looking at certain mobs through a spyglass. A spyglass needs amethyst though, which you can only get from an amethyst geode. So I went around looking for exposed geodes, broken with TNT, and collected the amethyst shards with TNT. I also needed to breed sniffers for 2x2, so I spent half an hour looking for another sniffer egg, and then once I found one, I placed it down to hatch. I crafted my spyglass and travelled to a jungle where I looked at a parrot through a spyglass to get another advancement. I also blew up some trees with TNT as I was low on my wood supplies. I went home and fed the baby sniffer for another advancement. After a while, the baby sniffer grew up and I bred it with the other one to contribute to 2x2. Where's the egg gonna go? Where's the egg? Oh, it's laying an egg. I think. Oh, what? So confused. How did they lay the egg? Oh, there, sniffer egg. It had to lay the egg, like a true dinosaur. I now needed to make use of my gold by creating a piglin bartering farm. I lured 3 piglins into glass cages with gold, name tagged them, and put a glass block over their head with a piston. I then made a sorting system where I chose some items I wanted it to give me. The rest was dropped into lava. I had to do the lava here because piglins can trade iron boots, which would destroy my run if I picked it up, since iron armor gives you an advancement. After an AFK session, I came back to check how much obsidian I had, because I know I have a lot. Please be no piglins around. Yes, there's none. Oh god. So much. Oh my god. 87 obsidian. The next advancement I wanted to get was an easy one. I had to play a music disc in a meadow. There we go. I made a jukebox and went to a mine shaft that I've been to before. There was a dungeon inside the mine shaft and I got a music disc. I then went to a meadow and got another advancement. On the way home, I found an igloo, so I went to the basement, threw a weakness potion at the zombie villager, and fed it a golden apple. After a few minutes, it was cured, and I had gotten another advancement. This was the first advancement tab, where I had done every possible fist-only advancement. Yes! Killed a stray. I started heading home but stopped briefly when I saw animals. I hadn't eaten them yet, so I had to kill them and save their meat for later so I could do a balanced diet. When I got home, I planted one of the sniffer seeds and got another advancement. I had to kill the Elder Guardian now for monsters hunted, but it's really strong and has a lot of health. To kill it faster, I built a full beacon above the monument and put strength 2 in it, which gave me another advancement. For yet another advancement, I went to a lush cave, kidnapped an axolotl, and brought it to the monument, as you get an advancement for fighting alongside it. Little did I know how truly amazing the axolotl would be in the monument. I brought my axolotl, a boat, bread, doors, and a bed with me, and headed for the monument. I think you should watch this clip for yourself. Found it. Oh my god. What? That was so quick. What? Oh my god. I didn't know it was that quick. I have no idea how the axolotl decimated the Elder Guardian, or how I didn't die to the Elder Guardian. Anyway, I was trying to leave the monument with the axolotl, but I ran out of doors and I forgot where the exit was. However, I did accidentally discover a way to not drown underwater with only a bucket, just spamming the bucket against a wall. After a while, my axolotl got lost and probably died, and I lost my bucket, so my only hope of getting out was to break my bed and accept my fate. But disaster struck once I got out. I returned my beacon to the island it should be on, but I noticed something heartbreaking. My dolphin, which was a 1.5 years old, which helped me get How Did We Get Here, was missing and presumed dead. The lead was lying on the floor. In honor of Name's memory, I put a sign up on its fence post and had a minute of silence. It was a sad day for my world. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and have any suggestions for what I should do next, feel free to leave a comment and subscribe. After all, this video was suggested countless times, and I've done it. Who knows, I may do yours too. Now I had to do another raid in order to kill an evoker, a vex, a witch, and a ravager. I went to my ghast farm, got some ghast tears, and went to my piglin bartering farm to get some obsidian. I crafted end crystals and brewed more strength 2 potions and flew to my raid farm. I made a 2-block deep obsidian hole in the ground, then went down to the killing area, where I put down my bed to set my spawn point, and put some boats down to trap the Vexes. I flew to my pillager outpost and killed the pillager captain to get Bad Omen, then flew back to my raid farm and went down to the killing area. You are kidding me! I'm so glad I set my spawn already. That is a Vex. After a few waves, a Voca spawned. They summoned Vexes which killed me a few times, but eventually they got stuck in the boat and I killed a Vex. I also killed a Witch and an Evoker, and got some Totems of Undying, which I'll use later. In the next wave, I stayed up at the top and stayed far enough away that none of them saw me except for one Ravager. The Ravager came towards me and, when it was close enough, I crystalled it and it died after 2 crystals. When I was home, I flung myself from the air into the floor at maximum speed with the Totem of Undying to get a new advancement. By now, I was really focusing on monsters hunted. The next horrible mob I had to kill was the Piglin Brute. It's a piglin with a lot of health, a lot of damage, and a golden axe that will annihilate you in 2 hits. I got strength and regeneration and headed over to a bastion to try and kill the Piglin Brute. Here's how it went. You're joking. Let me up. I nearly died, but I killed the Piglin Brute. I headed home to prepare for the next advancement. I now needed to breed a Hoglin and kill a Zoglin. I got 2 Crimson Fungus and bred some Hoglins. I then built a nether portal frame and tried to get a Hoglin in, because Hoglins turn into Zoglins when they're in the overworld. I couldn't light it because Hoglins are scared of lit nether portals, and will always run away no matter what. What I had to do was wait for it to be standing inside the frame and light the portal, sending it through. I jumped on top of a tree and killed the Zoglin. I had just 1 mob left to kill, the cave spider. I brewed strength potions, went to my stronghold since there's a mine shaft next to it, and went looking for a cave spider spawner. After about 5 minutes, I found the cave spider spawner. I drank the strength potion and killed the cave spider, finally giving me the monsters hunted advancement. There we go. I now needed to go get honey from bees for 4 advancements. I needed 5 bottles of honey and 1 honeycomb, so I crafted a campfire and went to where I knew there were bees. I put the campfire underneath the bee nest to calm them down, bred the bees, and then waited for honey. After a while, I got my first bottle of honey, and with that, a new advancement. I waited for an hour or so and then drank 1 bottle of honey to contribute to a balanced diet. I then collected honeycomb from the bee nest, crafted the remaining 4 honey bottles into a honey block, and slid down it for another advancement. With my honeycomb left, I went back home, crafted a copper block, and right-clicked the copper block with the honeycomb to get another advancement. I now had to focus on 2x2 and a new advancement, a complete catalogue. To get a complete catalogue, I need to tame every single variant of cat in the game. I brought fish, slime, seeds, wheat, and buckets with me and went to breed animals. I bred horses, pigs, sheep, cows, and chickens until I found a donkey. It was only one donkey, so I tamed it and started riding over mountains on it to find another donkey. I found a horse, so I bred it with my donkey to get a mule. I also found a lush cave, so I put 2 axolotls in my bucket and got back on my donkey. But I couldn't find another donkey, and I had gone so far on my donkey that I got attached to it and didn't want to risk its life just to breed it. So I went all the way back and left my donkey in a safe place in the village. I flew around searching for more donkeys and I found the most beautiful biome, which contributed to adventuring time. Eventually, I found 2 more donkeys and I bred them. I also found some llamas, so I bred them too. I went home, got some live tropical fish in buckets, and fed them to my axolotls to breed them. I now needed to breed frogs for 3 advancements. I went to a mangrove swamp, which was my last biome, and I got adventuring time. I bred 2 frogs, waited for the frog spawn to hatch, and picked up the tadpoles in my buckets to get a new advancement. 2 of the remaining frog advancements required me to have 1 frog of each variant. There are 3 frog variants: warm, temperate, and cold. The variant of frog you get depends on which biome the tadpole grows up in. For example, a jungle gives you a warm frog, an ice spikes biome gives you a cold frog, and a forest gives you a temperate frog.
What? How did I get subspace bubble? What? Oh, it's because I built portals in the... I built a portal in the mangrove swamp and then I came back through my portal. That's why. I found a place where all 3 types of biomes were next to each other, so I put 1 in the jungle, 1 in the forest, and 1 on the snowy mountain, and left them to grow up. Meanwhile, I made a nether portal and started to make a bridge. I need a nether portal because when a frog eats a magma cube, it spits out a frog-like corresponding to its variant. There's an advancement for having all 3 variants of froglights at once, so I made a bridge to a nearby basalt delta. After 10 minutes, the tadpoles grew up into frogs, so I put each frog on a lead and got another advancement. I brought them into the nether, where I put their leads on a fence post. I went to the basalt delta and began searching for a magma cube, and when I found one, I lured it over to my portal, where I broke it down into its smallest form and my frogs ate them, spitting out each variant of froglight. Now that painful experience was over, I went to the desert and went searching for villagers, taming every cat I saw. I also tamed a camel and rode on it to the next village, where I bred them for 2x2. Not long later, I had 9 out of 11 of the total cat variants. I decided to go back to the jungle, where I had to make 2 ocelots trust me, and then breed them. This was torture. They kept running away if I ever so slightly moved my mouse. It took like 20 minutes, but I managed to breed them. Now an even more painful experience was trying to breed foxes. I went to a taiga, got sweet berries, and tried to find foxes. I think their spawn rates are really low because it took me ages to find them, but they were too far away from each other, and kept going further. I found some more foxes and trapped one in a boat, but the other one ran away. After the night was over, I found the other fox, trapped it in a boat, rode it over to the other one, dug a hole, rode them both in, and then, finally, bred them. I also went to a swamp and tamed a black cat. The next advancement I wanted to get was called Feels Like Home. You have to bring a strider from the nether into the overworld, and then ride on it over 50 blocks of lava in one direction. I went to a lava pool that I knew the location of, built a portal there, and looked for a strider. When I found one, I bred it with another strider, rode on it back to my portal, left it in the lava pool, and dug a 50 block long hole. I then filled up the hole with lava, rode the strider over the lava, and got the advancement. Oh, there's certain parts messing us up. Oh, I got it! Yes! Even though there were like some tiny parts that messed it up. Since I left through the nether, I also crafted a respawn anchor and got another advancement. I also found the last cat and got a complete catalogue. Then I went to a mushroom island where I bred a mushroom, my final mob, and got 2x2. The next advancement I wanted to get was called Star Trader. You have to trade with the villager when you're at Y320, which is the build limit. The strategy for this one was a bubble column. I just had to build a bubble column up to the build limit, push a villager in and trade with it. It was simple enough and I got the advancement. I made more of the foods that I needed, such as beetroot soup, mushroom stew and rabbit stew. I wanted to get its spreads, which you get from killing a mob near a skulk catalyst. I got a skulk catalyst last episode when I killed the warden, so I started building my third museum exhibit, the Deep Dark exhibit. I put a skull catalyst inside it and brought a cow over, which I killed to get the advancement. While I was doing that, I ate all of the foods that I had for a balanced diet. After finishing the exhibit, I ate my rabbit stew and got a balanced diet. At this point, I only had 9 advancements left. Most of them were simple, but one was horrible. Surge Protector. I had to wait for a thunderstorm, which is extremely rare, and place down a lightning rod near a villager. I wanted to finish this run before day 500. It was about day 470. The fate of this run fell in the hands of this one advancement. I wanted it so badly that I made a lightning rod and began to constantly carry it around. My next advancement was insanely simple. I had to craft a chiseled bookshelf and put a comparator behind it. But the two after this were not fun. I needed to find an alley, which is only found at woodland mansions and, rarely, pillager outposts. Woodland mansions are insanely dangerous because they house evokers, which can spawn vexes. Vexes destroyed me during the raid. I'm not taking my chances with them again. I had to go find a newly generated pillager outpost. I crafted 2 cakes and a note block and went searching for outposts. At the 4th outpost, I found an alley, so I placed down the note block, gave it a cake, dropped the other cake on top of the note block, and played a sound on the note block. The alley delivered me the other cake, and I got 2 advancements. There we go. I now needed Ancient Debris, a rare block only found in the depths of the Nether, which you can only mine with a diamond pickaxe. But that's not true. It can spawn rarely inside a bastion chest. So I went to the bastion near me and looked for Ancient Debris. I managed to get it and went home. I now only had 6 advancements left, and one of them was called Uneasy Alliance, where you have to kill a ghast in the overworld. I found a really helpful contraption that lets a ghast spawn and then sends it through a portal. I started building it and I had to go make a bigger portal in the overworld, when something amazing happened. I went into the overworld and I noticed the sky was really dark, when suddenly the sky flashed with lightning. There was a thunderstorm. I flew around looking for a village, and when I found one, I put my lightning rod on top of the villager's house and I got the Surge Protector advancement. Yes! 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 Oh my god! Yes! But I forgot to start recording again after getting that advancement, and I don't have a recording of me getting Uneasy Alliance. But fortunately, I have a life-saving mod called Replay Mod. It saves replays of each Minecraft session you play, so I found a replay where I got Uneasy Alliance and recorded it. This is me getting the advancement. I only had 4 advancements left now, and 3 of them had to be done at the same time. The remaining one is called Caves and Cliffs, where you jump from the build limit down to the bottom of the world. It took a while to dig a hole to the bottom of the world, but I did it, and all I had to do was climb the ladder and make the clutch. But I messed up the first time and made it on the second try. Oh, I did it. Now there were only 3 advancements left, and it's pretty fitting that I left these for the end of the video, since they all happen in the same place. The end. I crafted 4 end crystals, brought 3 bottles of my spyglass, and headed off to the stronghold. I jumped into the portal and respawned the dragon. While she was still spawning, I looked at the sky with my spyglass, since one of the advancements was to look at her through a spyglass. I got both of the advancements and then went around destroying the end crystals. Within no time, she used her dragon breath attack, which I collected in a bottle, earning me my final advancement. Also, there were still shulkers left over from 2 episodes ago that I had to avoid. I then killed her like normal, and that is the end of this video. So, to answer the question at the start, the reason you clicked on this video, in 1.20.1, you can get a total of 91 out of 110 advancements, with no tools, weapons, armor, or shields. And those 91 possible advancements are on the screen now. If you liked this video, then you can always like and subscribe, and if you have a suggestion for what I should do next, then leave a suggestion in the comments. If you're wondering how did we get here, it'll be on the screen in a few seconds. Thank you for watching.